Windsor Castle has just confirmed that he died this morning. His health had been deteriorating in recent months with several visits to the hospital.
In an astonishing development that left the disbelieving country, King Charles III has unexpectedly died. Encouraging Prince William and to take the throne is Princess Catherine. Almost instantly, tears streamed behind them, palace walls, while the relatives struggled with the defeat. But duty beckoned, and the overnight coronation took place in a ceremony veiled with sorrow and urgency. What actually transpired during those hours of fate? How did it change shape? The regal terrain indefinitely? Stick for the complete narrative, stay around to the finish, and remember to express your opinions within the remarks. Let's get started. Roller coaster of emotions. There is something incredibly poignant about the relationship between a dad and his kid, particularly because that son is meant to take his lead. Charles the King and Prince William exchanged moments that passed beyond the crown, brimming with silenced discussions and burdens that are shared. Individuals' family members frequently saw how William's constant presence brought Charles's comfort amid his illness conflicts. However, now that Charles is gone, those memories acquire a more profound significance. A king wasn't the only one who abandoned us. It was a man who had bravely fought, battling sickness just to kind of die. Everyone was taken aback by that. The royal viewers remembered what Charles had said. With a recent statement regarding resiliency, emphasized that maintaining family unity was his greatest power. However, ultimately, it was the family that had to take the initiative, amidst the heartache. This change was not as well planned as the intricate rituals from the past. It was uncooked, genuine, and hurried by need. It began with a whispered phone conversation in the dead of night. Palace insiders disclosed King Charles's well-being had been an issue of worry for several months, with updated artwork depicting a monarch resolved to continue in spite of his cancer diagnosis was made public back in February of 2024. Reports from trustworthy sources such as the AP News and the BBC emphasized how Charles' ongoing civic responsibilities even as help revealed that he was having a very difficult time with the therapy. However, on July 18th, everything changed in 2025. Insiders claim that the monarch had an unexpected issue that resulted in his calm death at Balmoral Castle in the company of close relatives. The news broke with Buckingham like a thunderclap. The Palace released a sobering statement. "His the death of Majesty King Charles III calmly." The country stopped, flags half-mast down, and social media exploded with homages. Why it was so? The timing was surprising. Only days Charles had already been spotted in public. Events appearing weak but determined. A Yahoo Entertainment's July. Report 17th observed significant changes to his funeral arrangements among reassessments of death, implying the underlying gravity. However, nobody anticipated it to occur so quickly. Catherine and William believed to have been at Anne Hall with their kids when the call was made. Weeping faces flowed down as reality set in. According to one royal aide, William whispered, holding Catherine close, "We must now be strong for them," referring to Charlotte, George, and Louis. There was a huge public outpouring. Outside palaces where flowers are piled high, addressing the sorrow following Queen. In 2022, Elizabeth passed away. However, in contrast to that time, this loss led to an instant change due to succession laws called for immediate action. The line of succession, according to information on the official William, was ranked first on the Royal UK website. Then his kids. There are no delays. The throne could not stay empty. It was more than just a moment of loss. It was regarding the burden of legacy. Charles had spoke candidly his aspirations for the future of monarchy, highlighting unity and environmental causes. His passing not only created a void, but also kindled a glimmer of continuity. As the BBC as stated in the royal health updates, Charles's hardships had significantly affected the public and charitable organizations. Now that he was gone, attention shifted to the heir William had spent a lot of time preparing, but never imagined this day would come. The announcement brought the nation in solidarity with grief. However, it also raised inquiries. In what way would William manage the crown so abruptly? Furthermore, what part would Catherine play in the next period? The solutions came to light more quickly than anyone could have guessed. The reign of King Charles III was a combination of custom and daring shift, characterized by his enthusiasm for the surroundings and interfaith discussion. Rising following the passing of Queen Elizabeth, he negotiated a contemporary world in 2022, while respecting traditions that date back centuries. However, health overshadowed his reign. Difficulties. First, that enlarged prostate surgery that revealed cancer. Town and country updates and a king was depicted by Reuters, who struck a balance between obligations and treatment, even as leaders of charities observed the significant influence on his work. By July 2025, Marker and Penn Live, among other sources, suggested he was also working on himself out of dread. Difficult, with one account indicating the struggle may have turned bleak. And in his last days, Charles supposedly discovered comfort within the family. Stories are shared by insiders. Many peaceful strolls with William, talking about ranging from climate projects to fatherhood. He has a keen understanding of obligation, which benefits me since Charles once felt the tug of service. Stated at an interview that currently reverberate with emotion. His connection, Camilla, was a rock, and her assistance steadfast in the face of adversity. However, rumors from The Guardian and Newsweek disproved unfounded death rumors in the year, only to have the actual news arrive, similar to a wave. An excerpt from People magazine from March 2025 brought up a quick hospitalization as a result of the treatment side impacts that highlight the toll. What his legacy was best described by the quiet changes. He made the monarchy opening more modern, disgraceful to the public, and supporting sustainability. However, his death made clear weaknesses. According to AP News, the succession order seemed obvious. However, another was the emotional preparedness issue. Members of the royal family traded looks containing unsaid concerns when he was last seen in public. Ever the pillar of support, Catherine had accompanied him at occasions such as the Chelsea Flower Show. Her poise is a reflection of the elegance with which she enhanced her own difficulties. Charles's passing wasn't only a conclusion. It acted as a catalyst, compelling William will face his fate. All night. The country lamented a monarch who attempted to unite the old and the new. However, currently gazed toward the future, pondering whether those shoes could be filled by William. When midnight rolled around, the monarchy changed in a moment. In line with the details and the Crown Act's successor from Harper's Bazaar and Wikipedia, after the death of Charles, William automatically became the king. No ritual is required for accession. It happened instantly. Palace the accession caused officials to rush. Council meeting virtually as a result of the urgency. Insiders recount an incident involving regulated mayhem. Eyes red, William from tears, signing papers as Catherine reassured the kids. It is occurring too quickly, according to one source. William's voice cracking as he says feeling. This overnight change remembered past instances, but felt distinctively contemporary. Quora and USA. Today, the line's explanations were verified. George and Williams are next, but the human element was evident. Family assembled in private spaces, exchanging tales of Charles's wisdom and humor. According to reports, Camilla, now Queen Dogger, whispered, holding William's hand, "He have faith in you." The public discovered via the voice of the anchor during a BBC broadcast steady but solemn. Social media overflowed, combining mourning with King William's trends with optimism. The thing that most deeply affected me was the family's unadulterated weakness. Charlotte, always astute, posed queries that brought back new tears as George stood tall, aware of his own position in the future. It was clear that Catherine had an impact, her calm manner that keeps everyone grounded. As profiles mention vanity, fair William and Catherine had been getting ready in silence. Nothing prepares you for this, though. The defeat. The transition was smooth on paper, but in terms of emotions, it was a whirlwind. Dawn and William parted ways as King William V, the crown's weight settling in the midst of the grief. Right. Now strengthened the family's bonds and transformed sadness into resolution. William had always been aware of, perhaps this day will arrive, but not in this manner. Ever before he first became heir obvious, described in the features of People magazine, he got ready for his millennial kingdom. Carefully. Instruction in international relations and strategic abilities, as reported in royal circles, prepared him to be a leader. But he had a deep emotional journey. Sources remember William's pride in interviews, Charles has stated, became nearer by events. Now that his father has passed away, that connection strengthened his determination. There were tears, unavoidable. Whispers from the palace describe William sobbing in privacy, Catherine at his side. He's powerful, but this was really painful, a buddy said. The transition of William from prince to king was quick, using knowledge from the reign of Charles. The Harper's Bazaar stated that he was first in line. However, it was the development of the self that was important. Being a father molded him with Louis, George, and Charlotte, supplying light in the midst of the gloom. The role of Catherine was essential. Her nuanced direction emulating her approach to parenting, as observed at drop-offs at school or Wimbledon. This ascension wasn't merely obligation, it was a sincere development. Williams concentrates on homelessness and mental health. According to NY Post stories, a sympathetic rule. However, the overnight crowning tested him, imposing a harmony between sorrow and administration. As he assumed the position, the nation witnessed a man who was both human and prepared, his experience giving hope to the future. Catherine's development into Queen Catherine was very exceptional, amazing. Long admired for her, with grace and compassion, she now personified the core of the monarchy. People magazine emphasized how she and William channeled Philip and Elizabeth, getting ready for this position. However, Charles's unexpected death threw her into the spotlight in the midst of crying. According to insiders, she was the anchor of the family, murmuring, comforting William and the kids. Her attendance at the changeover was composed but poignant. She's always been a mother first, her source mentioned, reiterating her strategy in public actions such as brushing Charlotte's hair. Now that she is queen, her impact is additionally combining custom with modernity. Cora talks about her title, declared that she would be Queen Catherine, a name that fits her style. The nighttime her strength was exposed by the transition. Although she managed the formalities while William handled them. The home front, making sure the kids felt safe. Her experience with cancer, similar to Charles's, gave her more nuance, giving her ascension as a representation of perseverance. The royal, according to analysts, she will support family, morality, and charitable organizations. Her understated fashion sense charming and successful. This increase wasn't practiced. It was authentic, making a princess into a legitimate queen. The coronation took place in a historic first, spending the night at Westminster Abbey, a combination of speed and slumber. Tradition fulfilled William and Catherine's sense of urgency, crowned in a personal but significant ceremony. The Canterbury Archbishop led, applying holy oil to William. There are heavy-duty symbols in the air. Beside him, Catherine stood with her crown, a evidence of collaboration. Insiders explained the ambiance, low lighting, familial tears, but a feeling of solidarity. It was necessary but emotional, a one-person shared. In contrast to Charles's big occasion, this was private, concentrating regarding continuity. BBC's succession plans are highlighted the promptness of vows taken in the sorrow. The kids gazed with wide eyes. George's future is hinted at by his elegance. The poignancy was enhanced by Camilla's presence, her steadfast support. Crowns were positioned. The pair looked at each other, saying a lot. This event wasn't merely a custom. It was the farewell of a family. And welcome to the start of a new period. King Charles's repercussions' unexpected death affected every nook and cranny of the country and the royal family, generating emotional surges that changed relationships in a day. Regarding it was a complete frenzy, kids, of heartache and change. George the Prince, currently ranked second to the throne, moved one step closer to his fate, his young shoulders carrying the burden of expectations for the future that had previously seemed far away. Rumor has it that William and Catherine have been gradually getting ready, him for this position, using lessons until the reign of Charles. But the reality struck strongly as George displayed a maturity above his years at that time first family get-togethers. Princess Charlotte remained confident. Sparkle through the tears. Her silent domestic leadership that reflects the poise she demonstrated at public gatherings, such as the funeral of Queen Elizabeth. She turned into a comforting influence on her siblings, whispering encouraging remarks to Prince Louis, a young child whose innocence offered a much-needed reprieve in the sadness. Louis, who was still very small, held on to his parents, his light-hearted demeanor providing brief flashes of light in the gloomy aura of the palace. Family with Queen, the dynamics drastically changed. Camilla taking up the Queen's position, Dogger, is a title with historical connotations. Precedents such as Queen Adelaide following the death of King William IV, sources shut down. She remained a pillar, according to the family, valuable assistance to William. Her attendance at the lair added by the overnight coronation of consistency and silent power. However, Prince Harry and Meghan's absence. The sense of Markle was strong, their arrangement from the household that is emphasized in the middle of this emergency. Potential whispers. The persistence of reconciliation was motivated by reports from publications such as The Mirror indicating underlying initiatives to bridge the gap, particularly now that responsibility demands more than ever for unity. Harry's position in the succession chain is still in place. However, his Californian lifestyle causes a striking contrast to the sorrow of the palace. Charles's death united the country. Britain is in a deep state of mourning, and optimism similar to the flood that follows the death of Queen Elizabeth. Half flags massed throughout the United Kingdom represented collective sadness, with flowers in abundance outside echoing the tributes, Buckingham Palace that united communities. Economic effects were imminent, with specialists pointing out possible changes in marketplaces as a result of the change. However, William's focus on stability and continuity was expected to lessen disturbances. Charities that Charles supports environmental factors that affect healthcare increases in contributions, paying tribute to his legacy via means of public action. Catherine's latest Queen's role bolstered family and national securities. Her kind manner comparing it to her parenting manner, encouraging a feeling of unity resilience. On a global scale, the Commonwealth nations considered Charles's use of skulls to symbolize leadership of state expressing sympathy that highlighted his significance on a global scale. NN, the loss of Wikipedia. Org, or this changed close ties, but also attracted siblings and other family members. Closer, pledging to respect Charles's passions through continuous projects. In the midst of the weeping, a revitalized feeling of purpose surfaced, tying the royals together, and the realm in an insightful chapter change. The future is bright and promising under Queen Catherine and King William as they assume a position that combines classic tradition combined with audacious creativity. The millennial strategy, as described in People magazine, infuses new vitality into the monarchy, emphasizing the throne that is more sympathetic and receptive to the world of today. Rumor has it that William intends to transform the royal bar structure, adapting it to the contemporary era via evolution, as opposed to change with a less complicated coronation and a streamlined process that prioritizes effectiveness and value to the public. This vision involves removing extraneous material, cutting expenses, as well as making sure the family represents modern existence, while also paying tribute to the effects of previous regimes. The environment reasons continue to be central to their building on Williams Earthshop's Agenda Award to promote sustainability worldwide answers. Initiatives for mental health, such as the Heads Together initiative, will enlarge, using personal encounters to destigmatize difficulties and assist local communities. First, Family Catherine's policies are evident, supporting the development of young children and balance between work and life, guaranteeing their Louis, Charlotte, George, and the children up in a realistic but royal environment obligations. Royal observers forecast an adaptable monarchy where individuals' activities are promoted, enabling the possibilities for the future generation that go beyond strict protocol, possibly pursuing professions in international relations or conservation, as suggested by current reports. Geoner TV. The ascent of Queen Catherine adds a level of kindness and genuineness. Looking at her role as a profession as opposed to merely a title, she's ready for significant changes, emulating historical figures, such as Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana via significant clothing selections and understated modern touches. Her impact will be crucial. In order to increase the monarchy's internet transparency, giving hints about family life to cultivate kinship, as demonstrated by their genuine online persona on social media. They work together to achieve a hands-on strategy shown in military, leadership and altruism, striking a balance with history. Various changes such as increased access to the palace for the general public. There are obstacles to overcome from managing public criticism and financial pressures to stay united in the face of worldwide shifts. However, they are indestructible. Resilience is ensured by the link. Just getting started, a palace source. Reveals, implying something exciting changes to come. What are your thoughts of this new period in the history of the monarchy? Tell us in the comments section below, and for more heartwarming tales, subscribe. Regarding the development of the Yi monarchy, the crown persists, ready and brilliant than ever, to motivate a fresh generation.